Let the Spirit guide you through this hallowed experience of peace and spiritual renewal. You've been picked, someone is going to be jumped, and because of you, the whole town has turned against one another. These individuals are tearing each other apart in the most amazing demonstration of cosmic justice you have ever seen, and your spiritual ascension just set off the most violent implosion this realm has ever seen. This entire event was designed by the universe to demonstrate your true power. You fully, not partially, or halfway, engaged your soul mission. The shift was so strong that it sent shock waves through dimensions you were unaware existed, and every cell in your body matched your divine destiny. You deliberately withdrew your energy from every poisonous connection, toxic person, and exhausting circumstance that had been consuming your light. Their deepest fear was your spiritual ascension. You changed into what they most dread, someone who is uncontrollable, unmanageable, and unassailable. Since you interfered with everything they produced, your high vibration is now the main source of contention in their entire operation. Their low-level methods bounce off you like water off glass, because you were operating at such a pure frequency that you were what they call untouchable vibing high. You awaken each day more in tune with your mission, closer to your truth, and more impervious to their deception. They look on in dread as you get harder and harder to reach. The most exquisite aspect? You did this to respect yourself, not to harm them. You just opted for truth over cozy lies, spiritual development over stagnation, and sincerity over performance. Your choice to truly accept yourself had a cascading effect that broke their whole delusion. These individuals have been exploiting your energy as a source of power for themselves. The light they took from you was the fuel for every plot, deception, and sinister activity they carried out. They worked together to take every drop of your spiritual essence, using it to build their entire empire. They had been using your energy as their battery pack for months or even years, executing complex plans, such as coordinated harassment campaigns, clandestine financial manipulations, and family inheritance machinations, all of which were fueled by the spiritual energy they extracted from your open heart. They're exhausted now that you've remembered your vigor. They have no batteries left. Their business is failing. Due to the sudden outage of their primary power source, the financial maneuvers, family secrets, and inheritance scams are all collapsing. When you pay attention, you can actually feel the change. Where you used to feel exhausted after certain conversations, you now feel energized. Where you used to be perplexed by people's intentions, you now see them clearly. And where you used to doubt your own intuition, you now fully believe it. Their camp experienced a spiritual drought as a result of your energy return, which also gave you a surge of power and clarity never before experienced. When you see what they truly did, the extent of their desperation becomes evident. Not by accident, not by choice. These people really hired someone to move closer to you. They brought a professional agent into your area with the sole purpose of causing havoc in your life. This agent's job was to use Child Protective Services as a weapon against you by fabricating evidence, filing false reports, and doing whatever else that would shake your foundation and put you in survival mode. They positioned themselves in your life by studying you like a target and planning every move. It was astounding how well they coordinated. In order to penetrate their energy field and inflict the most damage from within, they instructed this individual to appear trustworthy by being soft, delicate, and compassionate. This was not careless harassment. Rather, it was expert-level psychological warfare masquerading as concern or friendliness. Consider the individuals who entered your life out of the blue around the time your spiritual journey became more intense. The neighbor who moved in and started asking personal questions right away. The acquaintance who kept offering you unneeded help. Or the person who always seemed to show up when you were having a rough day, prepared with the perfect words to keep you doubting yourself. When you sensed something was strange about certain persons showing up in your life out of the blue, your instinct was spot on. Your intuition served as your heavenly defense mechanism, alerting you of phony relationships and ties. Your logical mind was unable to understand the sensation, but your spirit was aware of the phony frequency of paid agents. If you give a thank you gift of $75, it will be the first drop of rain that falls right in the center of a thirsty heart. Someone on the inside began looking into it while you were spiritually growing. Extensive investigation uncovered fraudulent documents, including fictitious identities being utilized for illicit purposes and fake birth certificates acquired abroad. Their illegal enterprise was enormous in scale. Within their ranks, a manly force made the decision to come forward as a whistleblower, threatening to reveal the entire operation. International ramifications emerged, including people adopting phony identities, traveling illegally with forged credentials, and possibly getting ready for identity theft schemes against you. There's more to the phony birth certificate issue than just document fraud. It's possible that someone in their organization got fake identification abroad in order to adopt an entirely different persona. The ramifications are astounding. Did they have any plans to steal your name? Make fictitious legal documents that would allow them to access your property, children, and finances? This knowledge was found by the divine masculine, who is now utilizing it as leverage against the entire corporation. He is threatening to reveal not only the document fraud, but also all of its associated elements, including the money trail, global connections, those who enabled it, and the targeted targets. This individual is aware of the overall strategy. He has proof of the timetable, the coordination, and the distinct roles that each person played. They are aware that he has knowledge that might bring down the entire network. That is the reason for their panic. They are betraying one another because of this. Someone is going to get jumped because of this. The person who once professed to love you is now the new recruit. They sincerely regret involvement, and your past romantic relationship turned into their recruited asset. This person is frantically attempting to contact you while yelling, "That's my baby." But they are ensnared in a web they helped weave. This person is currently being blackmailed by the conspiracy leaders, who remind them of all the things they did prior to your spiritual awakening. Remember what we did to win. They threaten. Remember what you did before you made the decision to become spiritual. Their fear grows as they see that you are truly out of their grasp. Your change isn't fleeting or surface level. Rather, you've completely outgrown their frequency. This individual believed that they could play both sides. They thought they could be part of the plot against you and still be connected to you somehow. In order to keep you available and provide the impression that you were devoted to the organization, they anticipated manipulating the situation from within. Their plan was totally ruined by your spiritual development. You were no longer able to be controlled, accessed, or brought down to their level. They are now forced to choose between betraying the scheme and incurring their fury, or remaining faithful to it and losing you forever. You can work through these challenging insights with members of the Obsidian Inner Order. We recognize that often the most traumatic events in life serve as our best instructors. We don't promote resentment. We promote wisdom. Your gift of being able to perceive people for who they really are will shield you from betrayals in the future. Strength, not weakness, is demonstrated by your ability to forgive while upholding boundaries. Your knowledge was not bestowed freely. It was acquired via experience. Make connections with truth-loving people. Join the Inner Order of Obsidians. The description contains a link. Imitation is bred by desperation. Your old link is now trying to mimic your real spiritual practices, putting on a show of enlightenment that no one who works at true frequency can be fooled by. They are speaking your language when they discuss spiritual development, big faith energy, and self-love. They are trying to portray themselves as a divine masculine or feminine who is prepared for reunion by mimicking your terminology and behaviors. Although the performance is intricate and well-planned, their strategy's fatal weakness becomes apparent right away. You cannot decide to become spiritually advanced overnight. You cannot reach enlightenment without first completing the accountability step. You can't expect real transformation if you skip the inner work. Watch this individual duplicate exactly the words you use, the ideas you communicate, and the spiritual practices you've chosen by utilizing statements like, I'm having big faith in the divine process, or I'm focusing on loving myself first, in the hopes that you will say, "Oh, they've changed. They're on a spiritual path now. They believe they can speak your language and fake their way back into your energies. Perhaps we can get back in touch." They are relying on your empathy to overcome your judgment. They're wagering that you'll overlook the fact that their growth is phony because you want them to grow. Their manipulative techniques and love spells are now having disastrous results. Every effort to spiritually sway you is coming back to the sender with greater intensity. Everyone seeing this situation can see how their fixation is being passed off as love. A gift of $30 is a contemporary echo of Christ's compassion in feeding the hungry. The more you give, the more God multiplies. The extent of their spiritual bankruptcy is only exposed by their perplexing spells, which are intended to impair your judgment and get you to doubt your intuition. They are exerting all of their energy on a person who functions outside of their dimensional range. Their genuine objectives are uncomfortably accurately reflected back to them by your clarity, which serves as a spiritual mirror. Their spiritual sidestepping is exposed. Their deceitful methods reveal themselves. The hollowness of their manufactured bond is exposed. They are currently being harmed by the love charms they cast. They are the ones who are unable to stop thinking about you, not the other way around. Instead of you feeling a great longing for them, they are feeling the same way. They're the ones who obsessively try to get in touch with you, not the other way around. The return to sender effect is happening to them right now. They are now experiencing every manipulation they tried. They are now consumed by every emotion they attempted to make you feel. They are now targeting their own energy field with every spiritual attack they have unleashed. When they see that you are unaffected by their usual manipulative techniques, the intensity increases. They enter full spiritual warfare mode and try to attack your life force directly with energy. Some of them try to cause physical injury, while others target your emotional center in an effort to cause pain that will bring your vibration back to its accessible frequency. They want you to be devastated, depressed, and spiritually weakened, so they can intervene with phony consolation and take back power. There are waves of these spiritual assaults. You may experience unexpected anxiety attacks, unexplainable chest aches, or intense melancholy that is out of proportion to your true situation. These are energy attacks being hurled at you by those who wish to see you dead or destroyed. They are not your feelings or physical symptoms. Although these attacks are automatically prevented by your high vibration, their actual nature is exposed by the fact that they are being attempted. You are not loved by these folks. They don't care about your best interests. These are the folks that would actually choose your death to your freedom. Family systems, in-laws, extended family members, friends, a whole network of people who banded together to use family pressure and manipulation against you, are all part of the conspiracy, which goes beyond sexual relationships. Attempts to shame, guilt, or coerce you back into your dysfunctional behaviors were made by several generations. They attempted to breach your spiritual barriers by using emotional manipulation, cultural norms, and familial loyalty as weapons. Setting boundaries at the mastery level is demonstrated by your capacity to keep your distance from poisonous family dynamics even when their pressure increased. You defied decades of tried-and-true manipulative strategies by refusing to perpetuate dysfunctional behaviors across generations. You might be surprised to learn how deeply the family is involved. Your seemingly helpful in-laws were actually gathering information on you. Caring members of your extended family were reporting your actions to the plot. Helpful family friends were positioned to cause trouble. Understanding the generational component is essential since these patterns of energy theft, control, and manipulation have been handed down through family lines for decades, if not generations. The entire family structure, which depends on dysfunction to stay in control, is at risk if you decide to disrupt these patterns. A well-maintained system of control and manipulation that had been practiced by several generations was upset by your refusal to take part in family drama. your boundaries surrounding toxic relatives, and your insistence on healthy communication. This is where the most pleasant aspect of the whole affair starts. Their plot begins to eat itself alive from the inside out. Among thieves, honor totally disintegrates. Everyone in their group starts wishing to exact revenge on everyone else. Their anticipated dedication to one another devolves into mutual devastation and a vicious cycle of betrayal. Everyone begins threatening to reveal each other's secrets. The same individuals who banded together to harm you are now at each other's throats, manipulating one another using the same strategies they employed to harm you. The irony couldn't be better. As they rip each other to pieces, you get to watch this mayhem from your high, safe vantage point. While you continue to concentrate on your spiritual objective, the universe is taking care of the legal system for you. The internal conflict is savage and intimate. They are threatening to reveal each other's secrets to spouses, family members, and authorities over financial crimes, as well as to immigration services using forged documents. The individuals that hired them are now threatening the person who was meant to move close to you. Those who utilized the forged documents are blackmailing the guy who prepared them. Those who profited from spells now target the person who cast them. Someone who has been methodically gathering proof of their illicit activities, such as the coordinated stalking, the document fraud, the harassment campaigns, and the financial crimes related to inheritance manipulation, becomes an informant from within their ranks. When you give $100, not only we bear witness, but the sky bears witness. You are now one of those who are a bridge to heaven. As the evidence accumulates, law enforcement becomes engaged. Their illicit enterprise's breadth garners significant legal attention. As official channels reveal the truth about their acts against you, your vindication draws near. The universe is making sure that justice appears in several dimensions at once. Conversation recordings, text message evidence, and financial records demonstrating payments for illicit services have all been gathered by the informant. They have records attesting to the planning and organization of crimes against you. Currently, several participants of the conspiracy are being targeted by law enforcement. Campaigns of harassment, stalking, fraud, identity theft, criminal conspiracy, and maybe a spiritually motivated murder attempt are among the evidence. According to the informant, this plot has been going on for a lot longer than you thought and has been targeting more than just you. You weren't the first victim. You were meant to be just another in a long series of people they ruined for their own vengeance, familial dominance, or financial gain. Their offenses include a wide range of jurisdictions. The phony paperwork and overseas operations affect international law enforcement. Money laundering and inheritance fraud are investigated by financial crime sections. The coordinated harassment campaigns are investigated by domestic terrorism forces. The most surprising turn of events occurs when one of their hired agents begins acting strangely. The individual they recruited and moved to ruin your life starts to feel something they never expected. A sincere attraction to your true energy. Although this agent was intended to be a professional disruptor, even paid adversaries are impacted by your spiritual frequency. Instead of sticking to their initial plan, this person begins to break ranks and try to get in touch with you directly. They are torn between their genuine attraction to the brightness you stand for and their initial allegiance to the conspiracy. In response, the original conspirators threaten their own operative, reminding them of all the unlawful crimes they engaged in and emphasizing that confessing entails self-incrimination. They also threaten their family, finances, and safety. A desperate apology tour is initiated by your ex-romantic partner, who wants to admit to all the magical attacks, manipulative attempts, and schemes they were involved in. Their goal is to reveal the master manipulator who planned the covert activities. They are unable to function properly because they are aware that you are aware of what they have been doing. Since too much harm has been done, too many lines have been broken, and too many sacred boundaries have been crossed, the time of their confession precludes any real healing. Instead than feeling like genuine accountability, their apologies seem like just another ploy to manipulate. You no longer accept performative apologies as part of your standards. They cannot give you the genuine accountability, transformation, and long-term, consistent proof of change you need. This person has a strong desire to come clean about the master magician who is responsible for everything. They want to know who actually planned the harassment, who organized the family involvement, who planned the attacks against you, and who supplied the funds for the unlawful acts. They are expecting that by learning more, they would be able to gain forgiveness or re-entry into your life. They believe that disclosing their conspirators will show you how loyal they are to you, but they fail to see that their involvement in the plot against you already told you everything you needed to know about them. The apology campaign's claims of spiritual discovery, love declarations, promises of altered behavior, and efforts to sever ties with the conspiracy all seem phony because they are driven more by self-interest than by true accountability. As law enforcement gets ready to step in and stop their illegal activity, the situation approaches a critical point. Coordination between law enforcement and their organization starts there. The informant gives police thorough proof of crimes committed by a large number of people in several jurisdictions. Before you even knew there was physical danger, you were lifted from it by your spiritual elevation. Because of your high vibration, you were shielded from the worst parts of their illegal activity. There is evidence of identity crimes, financial fraud, harassment campaigns, energy theft, document fraud, and organized stalking. Illegal conduct is much more widespread than you may have first thought. If your heart is moved to give $50, that love carries the good news to the world that God says, it is a greater joy to give than to receive. Raids are planned for several areas at the same time, in order to stop the conspirators from alerting one another or deleting evidence. Law enforcement agencies are working together to arrest several of them simultaneously. International collaboration is being coordinated for the abroad components of their crimes. Financial records are being subpoenaed. Communication data are being examined, and search warrants are being drafted for residences, businesses, storage facilities, and digital devices. During this process, you are being safeguarded. While they develop their cases, law enforcement is protecting your privacy and safety. The full scope of what was plotted against you might never be revealed to you, and that's on purpose. You're being kept safe from information that could endanger you or cause you trauma. In an attempt to rekindle your relationship without accepting real responsibility for their role in the plot against you, your ex-connection makes one more desperate attempt to get back in touch with you. The knowledge you have developed during your spiritual path is evident in your response. You advise them to carry out the real inner work. After this degree of deceit and treachery, there are no fast cuts to a real partnership. You convey to them the necessity of saving themselves. You can't and won't teach someone how to love in a genuine way after they've conspired to ruin your life. Rebuilding some bridges is not and should not be done. The energy of "teach me how to love" is what this person is bringing to you. They want you to help them heal, to show them how to be real, to help them become the person they should have been all along. You give a very simple answer. Save yourself. Work on yourself. Take on your own shadows. Accept responsibility for your own behavior. Take care of yourself. Before attempting to love anybody else, learn to love yourself. You declined to be their spiritual mentor after they engaged in spiritual combat against you. After they took part in attempts to hurt you, you declined to be their healer. After they took part in attempts to mislead you, you declined to become their guide. This circumstance is surrounded with missed opportunity energy. From the start, they had the opportunity to be genuine with you. Instead of purposefully exploiting you, they had the chance to truly adore you. Instead of opposing your spiritual development, they had the chance to grow with you. These opportunities have all been lost, not because you don't believe in redemption, but because redemption demands real accountability, which they can't provide. Not because you're not prepared to forgive, but because trust cannot be restored following such a serious betrayal. As their organization totally collapses and your victory becomes indisputable, the dust starts to settle. As their entire world collapses around them, You continue to see things from a higher vantage point. Their drama has no bearing whatsoever on your reality because of your energy frequency. You live on a plane that they can't reach or influence. Your vibration establishes a natural barrier between their chaos and your tranquility, rendering their conflict irrelevant to your experience. You get the highest level of protection, total insignificance to their malfunctioning. From your high vantage point, you observe them destroying one another. The energy they aimed at you is now devouring them from within. The spiritual attacks they hurled at you are now bouncing back and forth between them. The manipulative strategies they employed against you are now being deployed against one another. You successfully finish a significant life cycle that included escaping powerful vampirism, intricate manipulation, and criminal plot. You have achieved and secured your energy sovereignty. They try to drag you down to their level, but you stay on your high frequency. It was spiritual progress that brought you victory. Instead of fighting their low-frequency fights, you experience total freedom from deception, magic, and poisonous relationships. Your acquired spiritual mastery protects your freedom, which is absolute and permanent. You start this new chapter with a greater understanding of who you are and what you are worthy of. In ways you have never known before, you recognize your worth, your strength, and your defense. You reflexively reject manipulation as soon as you notice it. Your new chapter will be based on relationships that are genuine. You will attract people for the right reasons, not for nefarious ones. Instead of depleting your energy, the relationships you make will increase it. As you incorporate the lessons learned from this event, your spiritual practices gain even greater potency. You develop razor-sharp judgment. You establish unbreakable limits. You start to adore yourself without question. 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 Every selected person must comprehend and become proficient in the universal principles revealed by your journey. Everything is energy, and energy can be used for manipulation or love, creation or destruction, and healing or harm. The awareness of the individual, directing that energy, is the only factor that makes a difference. You can avoid manipulation in the future by being aware of how love energy can be manipulated for control. You get the ability to accurately discern between genuine love and emotional trickery. In order to be a master, you must use your heavenly gifts for genuine light and service rather than selfishness or self-gratification. If you send us a super thank you of $20, it is the first grain of blessing that falls on the soil of hope. Over time, it becomes a tree that bears fruit in someone's life. As your spiritual immune system grows, it becomes naturally resistant to evil influences and black magic. The most significant takeaway from your experience is that when divine energy is misused, it always has limits. Dark activities cannot be continued indefinitely without repercussions, even for those with spiritual powers. For those who are chosen and remain on their true path, the cosmos contains built-in safeguards. Manipulation motivated by love is still manipulation. It is still against your free will for someone to try to manipulate, guilt, or coerce you by using love energy. You are shielded from future spiritual abuse by your capacity to identify and reject manipulation based on love. The more truly you apply your heavenly gifts, the more powerful they become. Your spiritual strength grows tremendously each time you choose truth over cozy lies, development over stagnation, and love over fear. You learn to respond to their turbulence, primarily, with laughter and patience. Instead of being an emotional investment, watching their organization fail turns into entertainment. Every element of your life experience is determined by your energy frequency. Sustaining a high vibration automatically repels lower frequency events and individuals, while producing experiences that correspond to that frequency. Success through elevation, as opposed to interaction with lesser energies, is what is meant by victory. Being totally unaffected by dysfunction and drama is the greatest victory. Those who remain true to their true purpose will always be protected by the cosmos. Your best defense against any plot, deception, or assault is your spiritual development. Your greatest defense against any kind of spiritual conflict is your dedication to personal development. As your tale illustrates, when selected ones are in line with their true spiritual destiny, they are naturally protected. Every plot against you is foiled by your elevation. Their operations are collapsed by your energy recall, and your ongoing expansion guarantees your long-term independence from their influence. Before you ever knew you were fighting a battle, the cosmos planned your victory. The only weapon you needed was your spiritual awakening, and the only tactic you needed was your dedication to truthfulness. Continue to rise. Selected one. Your freedom is unrestricted, and your elevation is their demise. Your transformation from target to untouchable demonstrates that genuine spiritual development offers the best defense against all evil. Every chosen one who chooses love over fear, truth over manipulation, and authenticity over performance deserves your victory. With boundless possibilities, heavenly protection, and total freedom, your narrative goes on. After passing all of the tests they set for you, you are prepared for the amazing chapter that lies ahead.